be done by President of India. But not all opposition parties have refused to attend. BSP chief Mayawati says boycotting the event is unfair and the government has every right to unveil the new parliament as they are the ones to build it. YSRCP chief and Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy, who will also be attending the ceremony, says that opposition parties should set aside differences and attend the event as boycotting it is not in the true spirit of democracy. Meanwhile, the BJP has also upped the ante against the opposition. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reminded the opposition that time and again they have abused and insulted the current President of India. BJP has already listed out instances when governors were excluded from the inauguration or foundation-laying ceremonies of even state assemblies, which were instead done by chief ministers or National Congress leaders. Already, we know that former Prime Ministers like Indira Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi have inaugurated or laid the foundation stone of certain sections of Parliament as it stands today when they were in power. Add to that the fact that current opposition has on various occasions boycotted even the President's speech in Parliament. So is this really about giving respect to the President, as they say, or is it purely about opposing the current Prime Minister, Narendra Modi? We'll take that direct question to our guest in just a bit. First, let's take a deeper look at this plea that has been filed in the Supreme Court by Advocate C.R. Jaya Sukin, objecting against Prime Minister Modi unveiling the new parliament. The plea claims that the government of India has not respected and has violated the Constitution of India. Petitioner claimed that the inauguration ceremony being done by Prime Minister Modi violates Article 21, 79 and 87 of the Constitution, which deal with powers of the President. Petitioner reminded that the President was kept away from the foundation-laying ceremony and now the President is also being kept away from the inauguration ceremony, and the petitioner asked the court to direct the Lok Sabha Secretariat to get the new Parliament building inaugurated at the hands of the President of India. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Narendra Modi returned back to India after his three-nation trip, which included Australia. And coming back, he actually took a slight jibe at the opposition party when he talked about the diaspora event that he attended in Australia and talked about how it wasn't just the current Prime Minister, even former Prime Minister and opposition members of Australia and Australian politics attended that event, and that's how it should be. Listen.
भारतीय समुदाय का जो कार्यक्रम था, वहां ऑस्ट्रेलिया के प्रधानमंत्री का आना गौरव की बात थी। लेकिन इतना ही नहीं, उस समारोह में पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री भी थे। उस समारोह में पूरी अपोजिशन पार्टी के मेंबर्स थे, रूलिंग पार्टी के मेंबर्स थे। ये लोकतंत्र का वातावरण ऑस्ट्रेलिया के लोग में भारतीयों के प्रति, चाहे पक्ष सत्ता का हो, चाहे पक्ष विपक्ष का हो, सबके सब मिलजुल करके भारतीय समुदाय के इस कार्यक्रम में उतने ही उमंग और उत्साह के साथ शरीक हुए थे।
As I mentioned, by now the BJP has already listed out many occasions where additional parliament buildings were inaugurated by former prime ministers of the Congress party. They've even listed out occasions when Congress leaders who had no government positions also inaugurated state assemblies. But here is more. If this is truly about respect for the president, then why was the opposition boycotting the president's speeches in parliament all of these years? In November 2019, 18 opposition parties led by the Congress skipped the president's event on the special address on Constitution Day. In January 2021, 18 opposition parties, including the Congress, TMC, DMK, NCP, boycotted the President Ramnath Kovind's speech ahead of the budget. Later that same year, 13 opposition parties, led by Congress again, skipped Constitution Day event in Parliament. And earlier this year, in January 2023, BRS and Aadmi party had boycotted President Murmu's speech in Parliament. That leads us to a big debate today. Is this opposition boycott call truly about showing respect for the president and fighting for it, or is it purely about opposing current Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
पक्ष सत्ता का हो चाहे पक्ष विपक्ष का हो, सबके सब मिलजुल करके भारतीय समुदाय के इस कार्यक्रम में उतने ही उमंग और उत्साह के साथ शरीक हुए थे।
Leaders belonging to these very same opposition parties spoke ill of her, abused her, and today suddenly they become morally motivated.
Because of the arrogant nature of this government, they are not ready to do that. They are insulting the president, they are insulting the women of the country, they are insulting the tribals of this country.
All right, let's go across to the guests joining us. Vineet Goenka from the BJP, Ikram Singh Sandhu from the Congress Party, Abhinandita Mathur is from the Aam Aadmi Party, and Sangeet Ragi, RSS supporter, is also with us, professor as well. Let me begin with Ikram. Ikram, is it not fair to ask that when the Congress Party and other opposition parties have repeatedly, as I mentioned, boycotted the president's speech, which the president gives to all parliamentarians every financial year ahead of the budget session, then why are you making such a big deal about respect to president? Have you truly shown respect to the president's post in the past?
Good evening to all. Shivani, when the president addresses the joint parliament session of the joint parliament, it's a political activity. The address that she gives is on the advice of the cabinet. So therefore, it is a political boycott. And it's not that Congress is the only party which has done. BJP has done it umpteen number of times. They have boycotted address when Pranab Mukherjee gave address during the 2G Colgate issue, and many times before that, when Mr. Jaitley famously said that not agreeing to parliamentary norms is the right of the opposition.
Fair enough. The reason I ask you this is today you are reminding everybody that president is the head of state. President is also the head of parliament. The president convenes the session every year. If so much importance is accorded to the president, by your words, why did you boycott his or her speech? Is that not then respect to parliamentary democracy itself?
As I'm telling you, Shivani, it is a political step. There are certain things which are political and there are certain things which are ceremonial. Now, ceremonial things are somewhere where everybody comes together. As far as ceremonial things are concerned, that is a time when we do not play politics.
But is the president giving a speech to the joint session of parliament also not ceremonial?
Sometimes when you put up a political dissent, that is the way it has been going on for the last 75 years. Since the time India has become a parliamentary democracy, the opposition did it throughout from the 50s onwards. The opposition has always done it. So while we are in opposition, we are well within our rights to do it.
The
now,
BJP is saying,
totally
fair enough, the BJP is saying that you, when you were in power, by you I mean Congress Party, your prime ministers also inaugurated or laid the foundation stone of various additional buildings. Sonia Gandhi, who had no position in government, inaugurated state assemblies. So then when you did it, you did this at that time, why are you opposing to the Prime Minister inaugurating the new parliament building? Then the same should go for everyone.
When we talk about the parliament, it was not the sanctum sanctorium that was being inaugurated. It was a library. It was a shed which was there to keep cars. It was, in NXC where offices were there. Those were the ones which were inaugurated. It was not the sanctum sanctorium where the proceedings of the parliament that are taking place that was inaugurated by anybody in Congress.
But what about state assemblies? New state assemblies were inaugurated. Why by Congress leaders or the Prime Minister of the day? Why not by the governor of the state?
The Prime Minister in the order of precedence is above the governor. If the chief minister of a state does it, then it is an issue. If the prime minister does it,
there are instances of chief ministers also doing it.
They laid the foundation stones, but never the inauguration has been done. When you're talking about what the chief ministers did, it was foundation stone. So therefore, when Prime Minister Modi also laid the foundation stone in 2020, the issue that we were against is why are you doing it now when the country is in the midst of a pandemic? We did not at that time oppose it because he did it. But right now, the inauguration is happening. This is the culmination of an activity. And this is where we believe that the president should come in, being the first citizen of the country. It is her right and it is an honorable moment where the president should be doing it.
Okay.
Bipartisan
Let
and who
Vinit-
represents the whole nation.
No, but I don't understand. Fair enough what you're saying. If the president is supposed to be bipartisan, what logic dictates that you should boycott her speeches? I don't get it. Then accord the same respect to
Shivani,
the ceremonial role that the president has as far as parliament functioning is concerned. The fact that the president opens the session every financial year is ceremonial. The president doesn't sit in the parliament otherwise. But in any case, you've responded on that. Let Vinit
I've
Goenka come
already
in.
told you. all
Yeah,
parties
let
have
Vinit
done it.
Goenka come in.
And of course, if you hold that against it,
No, I'm not holding that against you. I'm just saying that equal standards need to be employed, one to all sides and on all occasions. But let Vinit Goenka respond to you.
Shivani ji, Ram Ram to you, Ram Ram to all my co-panelists, and Ram Ram to the viewers who are watching this. Basically, the parties with feudal and the anarchist behavior have opposed anything and everything which brings prestige, pride to this nation. Then be it renaming of the race course into Lok Kalyan Marg or installing of Netaji's statue at near the India Gate, they have been always opposing and insulting the nation. When we were celebrating the war heroes and National War Memorial, the Samar Smarak was been made. They opposed it. They were thinking that this is not good. Rather, if I tell you, even when the Rajpath was renamed as Kartavya Path, they opposed it. I don't know why they opposed it. And I was hurt when they actually opposed Ambedkar International coming at Janpath, saying that Indira ji ke jagah ke samne Ambedkar ji ki kaise ek pratima ban sakti, kaise ek wahan pe bhavan ban sakta hai. Now, these are the people who come from that feudal thinking. Now, let me remind my Congress friend. They have three gentlemen in their party, and he has to explain to us what did Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary ji speak about the Honorable President. Wasn't that insult of this thing? And what about Dr. Ajay Kumar? He was one of the ministers of your state government. He, in fact, named us something which cannot be named by a common person. We cannot use. And Dr. Udit Raj spoke something which I would not like even to speak for an enemy country person. Forget about this thing. These are your people. And who you talk about respects of the constitutional things, your own member of parliament, your own past president, or of the ordinance of elected Prime Minister, then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh ji. So, sir, you have been insulting. You always take pride in insulting. Never get pride in participating on this thing. In fact, you are the same people who have questioned surgical strikes and air strikes. वहां पे भी आपने कहा था कि नहीं ये तो
but let's stick to the subject. Let's stick to the subject. Vinit Goenka, let's not go. No, let's not go all over. Let's stick to the subjects, particularly when it comes to the president's position and the parliament, and some examples that come from state assemblies. In fact, just for the benefit of our viewers, let me reiterate that actually just this year, Telangana Chief Minister KCR Rao inaugurated the new Secretariat building, the new Assembly building, and again the governor was not present there. So there is a precedent of a Chief Minister doing it. Now you could argue that that's not our Chief Minister, but I don't remember anybody objecting to it. That's all I'm suggesting.
Indira ji inaugurated Maharashtra Vidhan Sabha, and Chief Minister, Governor, President, then all these three were absent that time.
Yeah, so that's the point, Ikram.
Yeah. So
was it okay when you did it?
Vinit
It's just not okay when BJP is doing it. And I come to the fundamental question I'm discussing before I go across to our other guests too. Is it purely about objecting to Narendra Modi? Because there will be for time immemorial, for posterity, a plaque commemorating his name, and that's why you're objecting to it. Because it's happened before, whether it's chief ministers or prime ministers.
Shivani, just give me 2 minutes because there's so much that Mr. Vinit said. First, he said about all the things that Mr. Udit Raj or Mr. Ajoy said. I'll just tell him, what did the Prime Minister say? He called the leader of the opposition as
First, sir, you have to apologize for what they said.
Yes,
Wait, one by one.
When you are slinging mud on somebody else, listen. He called the ex-Prime Minister, who was at that time the Prime Minister Manmohan, saying that he takes a bath with a raincoat. Are you proud of that language that he used? Are you proud of that language? Just tell me that. When he said Didi, oh Didi to Mamata Banerjee, who's the Honorable Chief Minister of West Bengal, that is such a great event, that so much of respect he's giving to a Chief Minister.
Okay, let's come back to the subject. Let's come back to the subject.
That my leader said, I can throw back 20 that your people have said.
Ikram, let's come back to the subject.
In the heat of the moment, as something is said, you hold it against me, I can throw back 20 points on you. So let's keep to what the discussion is.
No, but I think you
now,
have to
coming
understand.
to the
Insulting the president, that to a tribal woman, is not called for, sir. And you heart to heart, you also feel bad about that. And I'm sure
Calling
you're
him
a
that
good
he takes a bath with a raincoat on is not right.
Okay, I'm not quite discussing who what baths at each other. Let's not go down that road. Let's discuss the subject at hand. I have to go across to Abhinandita and Sangeet Ragi too. Ikram, I'll give you 30 seconds to please finish your argument on just this subject.
So that is what I'm saying, that sometimes mudslinging happens, and I am somebody who's very clear about it, that no mudslinging should happen. But then do not have an
ordinance by Rajiv Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi ji.
Just give me 30 seconds and I'll explain. I am actually proud of that. It was an ordinance which came in that people with a criminal record should not stay in parliament. What did the ordinance say? That even if you are convicted for a criminal act,
when an elected Prime Minister, he comes out with an ordinance. Yeah. Somebody who is just a dynast, he dares to talk, and you're proud of that.
Okay. Somebody who stood for the right
and what is about your opinion about distributing bungalows to non-elected?
Let's not go there. I'm just pulling away from both of these guests. Vinit Goenka, I'll request you to stay on to the subject. We cannot quite broad base this because we'll not really discuss the material at hand today. Abhinandita, I'm coming to you. My question remains the same. You look at demonetization, people went to court. You look at ED, CBI, opposition went to court. You look at the Central Vista project in itself. Now you look at this inauguration by the Prime Minister. You know, there is a pattern emerging that anything the current government does, either the opposition directly or, you know, people associated or part of the ecosystem go to court to stall it. Now, this is a pattern emerging and it's looking like you do this on every issue.
And there is also a pattern that, you know, perhaps what the central government is not abiding by some constitutional value, certain kind of morality that is required, or Raj Dharma, as you may say, that is required of a fine leader. I think that is the problem. That is the core problem, because of course there have been many instances of, you know, a strong opposition in the past. There have also been instances of, let's say, in the time of the emergency, where there were several draconian laws. And the opposition, including the BJP, had, you know, gone out of its way to protest. I mean, including leaders like Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji and so on. So I think for a healthy democracy, the opposition raising relevant points is not a problem. I don't think that itself is a problem. I think what is also apparent, and what is apparent to the people of India today, is that the way in which Mr. Modi's government is currently doing, you know, its own manmani with some amount of arrogance, without giving any footage to any other anybody else, including people within his own party, including, you know, the president. Look,
what is the objection here? Abhinandita, let me break this down. What's the objection here? As we know now, there are precedents to this.
Right. So the objection here is, one, I must say that there is no precedent to it, because the parliament has not been inaugurated in this sense before. So
that's only because it's a pre-independent structure. If you go by other examples of parliament, additional buildings or state assemblies, there is a precedent that current political leaders did it, even those who were not in government.
No, there is a difference between, you have to understand it, there is a difference between the parliament, you know, which is the parliament, and who should inaugurate it should go without saying, because here you are also sending out a message to the rest of the world that the head of our state, who is at the moment a woman, who is an Adivasi woman, and we are very proud of the fact that we've reached a place today where somebody like her is our president. We can't be more proud. The message that should have gone out to the world today is that, you know, that is the woman, that is the dynamic lady, that is what represents India.
And yet, the Aam Aadmi Party boycotted that dynamic lady's speech just this year. Am I not supposed to call that out? Just this year, you boycotted the president's joint speech.
There are two things that, and you have to separate this. These are two very separate moments. These are also which require different kind of courtesies. Okay, so there is one, like I will not repeat myself. The Congress spokesperson did already elaborate on what the context of that walkout was. But here we are talking specifically of a very positive event.
Okay.
We are talking.
All right, fair enough. I'll go to Sangeet Ragi, but just the other question, Abhinandita, I want to ask you, and I'll give Ikram an opportunity as well.
Here for a minute?
Yeah, one second, Vinit ji, one second. The other question I want to ask you is that, you know, this whole boycotting business has this also become like an easy tool to register your protest? Why doesn't the opposition come together, be part of the event? Because as you're saying, the event is bigger than one party or the other. At least be part of the event, even if you register, opposition or disagreement. You're part of Indian politics. Why not be part of this event?
You're right. I'm sure that everybody in politics will agree that we would rather be doing many other things than having these debates about some very fundamental issues or the basic structure of a constitution. It's very unfortunate that we're having to do that. And I totally agree with you. I don't think it is some kind of a hobby for the opposition to get up in the morning and say, "Acha, chaliye, aaj kis pe protest kare." I don't think that is what is happening. You understand the hypocrisy of the BJP. On the one hand, in Delhi, they're saying that the elected government does not matter and LG is supreme. On the other hand, they don't have the sense, they don't have the respect to invite the President of India
for the Parliament event. Vinitji, just 1 second. Sangeet Ragi has not spoken. Let me bring him in. Sangeet Ragi, is this just looking like one of those things that the opposition feels they've got a tool to kind of project that the Narendra Modi government doesn't think about anybody else or even any other person, forget about other parties, and therefore hammer that message? And has the current government also gone wrong in that sense of giving that tool to the opposition? Why not involve the president?
I think there is still time.
Shivani.
Yes, Sangeet Ragi, go ahead.
Shivani, look who is talking about constitutional propriety and morality. A party in power in Delhi every day abuses the Lieutenant Governor here in Delhi. Passes the resolution, the ministers use abusive language, sit on dharna outside the residence of the governor rather than following a proper protocol. Look at who is talking about a party in power in Delhi who always have a contemptuous attitude towards the Prime Minister and the ministers of the Senate, and the Chief Minister apologizing for whatever he has said in the past, because he is always in habit of telling lie before the country. I think that this is then a boycott of the opposition is a political posturing before 2024. But in doing so, they have belittled themselves and lowered their own image in front of the people of this country. Their problem is they don't want to respect the President of India. Their problem is Narendra Modi. And everyone has their own, grudges. The way in Mahabharata, every character has its own, some kind of strings to follow. For example, the Congress and its juras, Srimati Sonia Gandhi, doesn't want that except for the Nehru Gandhi family, others should be there to inaugurate such kind of a historical building, because this is the building which is going to serve the country for at least for 2 years to come. So it's a temple of modern India. The Prime Minister is the architect, the man behind one who had the vision for it, the person who has executed it. It is not only this. When the Prime Minister says mother of democracy, he is completely, altering the discourse of the world. Because still no, we have the Anglo-American tradition that it is the Greek who was the founding, who was the mother of democracy. Right. The Prime Minister is bringing on, and on the basis of the historical documents.
Fair enough, but when you say that he's the architect of it, Sangeet Ragi, when you say he's the architect of it, now maybe that's exactly the problem that the opposition, especially the Congress, has with the BJP. That actually it was the Congress that wanted to build a new parliament.
Shivani,
so is it fair to say that, okay, the credit of this should go to Narendra Modi and BJP alone?
No, nobody is saying. My limited point is that they hate Narendra Modi, because they feel that they are entitled. Gandhi Parivar is entitled. Otherwise, what was the role of Rahul Gandhi to be in the inauguration of Chhattisgarh Legislative Assembly? This chap who doesn't have the basic understanding and ethos of this nation, one who doesn't have the understanding of the culture and civilization of the country, He's a little kid in this domain.
Okay, let's not go personal
was
against
invited,
him.
Used all this
What
language.
for? What
He is
for?
showing his own
What
upbringing
for?
by speaking like
He was
Let's take-
invited. It's not a foul language. It's not a
of
foul
course.
language. The person
saying?
that Rahul Gandhi
It's a
says,
parliament
Narendra Modi
you
tu
don't have the
pitega,
right. How many times
tu
have you
lathi
been,
se pitega.
elected to the parliament?
This is the
Have you
the
not
language
got
of a
the
ruffian.
election and won it?
That
Okay.
this is a
Somebody who
this
put
is
up-
not a
But
non-parliamentary
Sangeet Tyagi,
member.
this isn't
This
about
is a
Rahul
language
Gandhi
of a
alone.
ruffian.
Okay, one
This
second,
is a
one second.
language of a ruffian. I am
Sangeet
just
Tyagi, you
reminding
made
you.
your point. Can I just have Ikram with me? Can I just have Ikram with me?
Shivani ji, I
Ikram,
would like
one
to-
second. Vinitji, we have time. Ikram, the point is fundamentally this. The Congress party has a history of naming institution after institution, scheme after scheme, big or small, after just one family. Not even all Congress prime ministers, mind you. Just one family's prime ministers. Right? On top of that, you've got Sonia Gandhi with no post, Rahul Gandhi with no connection, inaugurating state assemblies. Now, you could say there's a difference between inauguration and foundation lanes, stone lane, but frankly, for the public, there's no difference. How can the Congress party, now unfortunately you have to face this question, how can the Congress party of all parties, act like we didn't care for credit and we didn't care for naming everything after us?
Shivani, I'll just give you two examples here. They come up with the Tamil Nadu Assembly. Tamil Nadu Assembly was inaugurated by Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. Sonia Gandhi ji accompanied him, but it was inaugurated by the Prime Minister. Now, in the state, when you see the precedents that we have in our country, the Prime Minister comes at number 3 and the governor follows him. So it was totally within the prerogative that he inaugurates it. When you're talking about Chhattisgarh, which happened in 2020, they just joined via video conferencing.
But
They were
why?
not even
People
there.
will ask the
So
question,
how
why,
can
in what capacity Sonia Gandhi joined that? No, 1 second. In what capacity did Sonia Gandhi join that ceremonial activity? People will ask that question.
Come on, you had an activity in Assam when the
Accompanied
inauguration
by the
happened.
governor of
At
the
that
state.
time, Mr. Amit Shah was there, who was the president of BJP. In what capacity was he there?
No, but exactly. When you did it, how can you raise questions on others? They will
I'm not
obviously say
raising-
you've done it in your
So
time.
So we are not even raising that question that why Amit Shah ji was there when in 2016 the Assam Assembly was inaugurated. As the leader of the BJP, as the head of the BJP, he was well within his rights to be there. So let's not, go away from the track.
Okay, but the Prime Minister should not get to inaugurate the new Parliament.
Absolutely. This is something which is once in a lifetime, occurrence. It is happening after 75 years. It might happen after another 200 years. If the building is good, it will work till that time. The honor should go to the first citizen of the country.
Okay,
And
Vinit
that Article
Goenka.
79
Final
is very
arguments,
clear
please.
about it.
Vinit
The-
Goenka. Yes, Abhinandita, I'll give you an opportunity. Vinit Goenka.
Honor should have
So
gone
let me first answer.
Rahul Gandhi.
Yeah, sir,
Honor
can I
should
answer?
have gone to Rahul
Sir, can I
Gandhi.
answer, please?
Okay, Sangeet
Rahul
Ragi, thank
Gandhi
you.
was
Thank
just
you.
present there on a VC. Get your facts right, sir.
Okay, sir,
He never
Vinit Goenka.
inaugurated anything.
Vinit
On a
Goenka.
Sir, I never
I'll
spoke in
explain
between.
next
Please allow me to
time.
complete my sentence, please. Sir, I would like to respond on what Abhinandita ji said about, Manmani. What is called as Manmani, I'll tell you. When the entire Delhi was suffering with COVID, spending 45 crore rupees of taxpayers on Sheesh Mahal of his own is called as Manmani. What is called as Manmani, Abhinandita ji? Making a policy of liquor so that you can siphon off money is called as Manmani. What is Manmani? An insult to the institution is when you say that Bharat Ratna should be given to Satyendra Jain, who is in the jail and who gets massages by rapists, is called as Manmani. It is also called as Manmani when you push Biharis and Purvanchalis out of Delhi in the peak of COVID. That is called as Manmani.
Okay.
Madam, let me tell you one thing.
Absolute
You have to
lies. It is
respect-
just such rubbish. I'm really
It is
sorry.
also called as Manmani. Madam, I never spoke in between when you were speaking rubbish. Ma'am. Maybe Kejriwal speaks rubbish.
No,
I don't
no,
speak
no,
that.
no. Vinit
And
Goenka,
such
please
insults
focus on the
Parliament.
subject and please finish your argument.
That is called as, madam, they spoke about Manmani. Let me tell them example of Manmani. Manmani is you spend 45 crore rupees on Sheesh Mahal, his
Okay.
own house. Manmani is when you push poor Biharis and Purvanchalis in the peak of COVID period out of Delhi. That is called as Manmani. They insult the system, they insult the institutions, they insult the constitution, and they are anarchists. And now they are trying to insult the country. They insult
Okay.
the armed forces. Arvind
Abhinandita,
Kejriwal insulted the armed forces. Said,
let
"Yes,
her
that's
have a
why
30
like that?"
seconds, please. Let her have a final 30 seconds. Abhinandita.
Thanks. I have one question for
Anarchists at the best. Those people who do not believe in this constitution, those people who don't want to respect these systems here.
Vinit ji, you must now give the opportunity to Abhinandita, please.
आपको आपको चांस मिलेगा because I have a question for you and you must answer
आप
this.
पहले
for a-
बताइए ना कि बिहारियों को जब बाहर भेजा तो वो मनमानी नहीं था ना। सत्येंद्र जैन को भारत रत्न की बात करेंगे आप लोग शीश महल के ऊपर 45 करोड़ रुपए खर्चा करेंगे।
He's fighting for
शर्मी की
his
हद होती है
life.
कि जब कोविड में लोग मर रहे थे तब आप जो होते स्कैंडल कर रहे थे लिकर का, और आप आके हमें वैल्यूज की बात करेंगे।
Okay. Vinit ji, you made your point. Vinit ji, you made your point. Please don't repeat the same thing, please. Abhinandita.
आपके लिए एक सवाल है जो आप पूरे देश को
मेरे सवाल का जवाब दीजिए। क्या कोविड के पीरियड में गरीब बिहारियों को और पूर्वांचलियों को धक्के देके
Okay, can I just have Abhinandita with me, please? Abhinandita, go ahead. Please finish your point.
reply, or he can, tell the people that he has no reply. The question, and which is a part of the debate, is that what is the reason why the central government has not invited Honorable President Srimati Murmu ji in the opening, in the inauguration of the parliament. ये आप हमें बताइए कि इतने बड़े मौके पे आज जो एक इतनी बड़ी बात है कि हमारे पास इतनी जबरदस्त हमारे प्रेसिडेंट हैं, आप ये बताइए पूरे कंट्री को, why is it that she has not been invited?
Okay. Vinit Goenka, I'll give you 30 seconds to respond precisely to that question, please.
No, they have to first tell the people. Those people who insult the constitutional values. Sanjay Singh would raise voice in the parliament to be an hooligan there. And those are the people who talk about Bharat Ratan to be given to a jailed person. These are the people, they will ask questions to us and we'll answer it. I would request her to respect the constitution, respect the event. Come on 28th May. It is an event where Savarkarji's birthday is there. It's a very big event for us. Please come.
Okay, Sangeet Ragi, 30 seconds. Just Sangeet Ragi, please.
30 seconds for me to Shivani.
Just, Vikram ji, I don't have enough time, but Sangeet Ragi, because he's been waiting.
10 seconds.
Okay,
10 seconds.
Ikram ji, 10 seconds, then Sangeet Ragi takes the final word. 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Shivani,
BJP and RSS always talks about Hindu tradition and Raj Dharam.
Yes.
Raj Dharam says that you should have magnanimity.
Okay.
And it is time that Narendra Modi shows magnanimity and agrees to what the whole nation is saying.
Okay.
And this
So
sacred act of the inauguration of the new parliament should happen by the hand.
No, I cannot have this like, I cannot have it go on like this. Vinit ji, you had your opportunity. I just want Sangeet Ragi with me so that he can have his 30 seconds uninterrupted. Yes, sir, Sangeet Ragi.
Shivani, it is generosity of the Prime Minister that he has invited, and it requires a courtesy, on part of the opposition to join this. It is a historic occasion. My dear friends, ask your parties not to let lose this occasion. This is a historic moment indeed. We are having a temple of democracy of new India. Why you are wasting on frivolous issues, spurious issues, whether it is in democracy or not, whether somebody has who should, in fact, the Prime Minister is the head of the government. Don't forget. It's also a constitutional position, and it is the Speaker who is the guardian of the building. It is the Speaker who has invited the Prime Minister. It is not the government which has done. It is the legislature which has invited the Prime Minister to inaugurate this building.
All right. I'll leave it at that. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. We'll see what happens, but certainly as it stands, just a few days before the inauguration, it doesn't look like anyone will blink, and this face-off and standoff will continue. Moving on to Karnataka now, where Congress today reiterated its pre-poll promise to ban organizations like the Bajrang Dal. Cabinet Minister Priyank Kharge claimed that Bajrang Dal creates animosity between communities, and if any threat arises to law and order in the state, then they will not hesitate to ban the organization. Earlier, of course, the Congress government also promised to revoke all decisions taken by previous BJP government, like not allowing hijab in educational institutions, anti-conversion law, and so on. The BJP has slammed the Siddaramaiah government for appeasement politics, and they have even termed Congress as reverse engine government. It's important to note that the Congress promised to implement 5 guarantees that they promised to the public of Karnataka almost immediately once they came to power. And now, almost a week later, 8 ministers have taken oath, but no portfolios have been distributed, and there is still little clarity on those guarantees itself. But let's take a look at the issues that have been raised by ministers after the new government took oath last week. The first is, of course, Bajrang Dal. The Congress has now reiterated its vow to ban an organization like the Bajrang Dal. Cabinet Minister Priyank Kharge saying that they will not tolerate any threat to law and order. This is, of course, after they made this pre-poll promise as well. But there's a catch here. They always said that they will ban the Bajrang Dal if they do something. It was not going to be a suo moto ban. textbook revision issue. Academicians have now urged Congress government to remove quote contentious revisions in school textbooks. The textbooks were revised under previous BJP governments led by B.S. Yediyurappa and Banswaraj Bommai. A revision panel was set up by the BJP government which revised syllabus after a memorandum was submitted by the Brahmin Mahasabha in 2020. Saffronization just overall, especially of the police force. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah and Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar, in fact, met senior police officials of the state and warned them. They directed cops to end, quote, saffronization and moral policing in the state. Chief Minister Siddaramaiah asked the cops to not differentiate between people based on religion. Hijab ban. Now hijab hangama is back as Karnataka government has mulched to revoke the notification that disallowed hijabs inside classrooms in specific institutions in Karnataka. The notification, remember, was brought in by previous Bommai government in 2022 after some students insisted on wearing the hijab inside classroom. Anti-conversion law could be the next big face-off as well. Congress will soon repeal the anti-conversion law in the state if their promises are to be believed. The law banned forced religious conversions. The law was brought in by the Bommai government in 2022. And here's another contentious one. This is the anti-cow slaughter bill. Remember, cow slaughter is something that is banned in most states in India. It is also one of the directive principles in the Indian constitution. Now, the Karnataka government is mulling to revoke this cow slaughter protection law. Congress claims that cow slaughter protection law is communal in nature. This law was passed by Yediyurappa government in 2020. But our big focus and our big debate coming up is this. With all of these issues coming back on the front burner in the days after the new government's formation, is it not that the focus is actually shifting from the guarantees the Congress promised and actually is coming back to the same issues about identity and religion?
Political outfit, religious outfit, or social organization that will plant seeds of disharmony, that will create animosity between two religious groups, and do anything unconstitutional will be dealt with a stern hand.
कांग्रेस पार्टी के नेता मैं उनको एक ही बात कहूंगा, आरएसएस पर बैन बहुत लोगों ने कोशिश किया और औंधे मुंह गिरे। कृपया करके एक राष्ट्रवादी संगठन पर इस तरह की हल्की बात न करें।
स्कूल में यूनिफॉर्म कंपलसरी है, कब से है? लगभग 1969 से है। आज आप सब लोग अपीजमेंट पॉलिसी के वजह से, मुस्लिम तुष्टीकरण के वजह से आप यूनिफॉर्म के खिलाफ हो स्टेटमेंट दिया है।
Anand Gurumurthy of the BJP is joining us. Samrudh Hegre is from the Congress party and R.K. Upadhyay, senior journalist, tracks Karnataka politics very closely. Samrudh, let me come to you first. What happened to the guarantees? Why is it that every day you have Priyank Kharge or some other minister talking about issues that you claim were communal issues and you didn't want to do communal politics in the state? And still, you know, we don't have any clarity on the guarantees. Wasn't it the Congress's commitment that first and foremost they will fulfill those guarantees before anything else?
Thank you for having me on the show. We are committed to providing our guarantees, and in the first day, as soon as the Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister and the other ministers, the cabinet ministers took oath, immediately the cabinet sat together and they they've already signed on the 5 guarantees. Now, Karnataka has discarded a government which has spewed hate, communalism, promoted disharmony and corruption, and put Karnataka on the reverse gear, and voted for a government who is committed to providing and preserving the peace and security of Karnataka and providing justice and development. Now, I understand that the hijab matters before the Supreme Court, but we have to understand the objective of why such a circular was brought in. The ban has not helped even a single person. It has not impacted anyone positively. It has in fact acted as a hurdle to education and has deprived young girls who already face so much discrimination of their right to education. And this in itself is criminal. Students who are supposed to be in classrooms learning about progressive, about history, about maths, about science, were out on the streets to further a political agenda. while the leaders, the children of the leaders, were out in universities promoting inclusivity.
Okay.
So
but
this is the situation in Karnataka today.
okay, fair enough. But can I just ask you a few follow-up before I go across to other guests? You said that you've signed on the guarantees, but that's not how governance is meant. You signed on guarantees even as part of your election campaigning, but that doesn't mean anything. When you say you've signed on guarantees or you are going to deliver the guarantees, it needs more. And if I have it correct, there are some of those guarantees you haven't even done an expenditure analysis on. So how have you signed off on them?
The guarantees will definitely be implemented in Karnataka. We have just taken oath just not even a week back. We will deliver on all of the promises. We will consider on how they have to be implemented in Karnataka. We are committed to implementing them, and we shall do so.
But why is your focus not on that? The question that is arising is, you look at these daily statements, your focus is not on those guarantees, your focus is on everything else.
Our focus is definitely committed to the peace and prosperity of Karnataka. And these, we have to undo the wrongs done by the BJP in the last 3 years, and we are doing so by providing the 5 guarantees and by looking into all the polarizing, primitive and draconian laws that were passed by them.
Is anti-cow slaughter primitive and draconian? Are you aware that anti-cow slaughter laws exist in most states in India?
Then I would request the BJP to ban it in Goa too and in Manipur.
But what's your rationale for calling it primitive and regressive? It's part of the directive principles of India.
I would request the BJP to pass the same ban.
BJP is not in power in Karnataka anymore. I want to understand your point of view.
Of course, we will have to reconsider. We will have to have a discussion where these laws were passed by bulldozing them through the assembly.
Are you opposed to protecting the cow, or are you opposed to this particular law?
In general, with any law that we are going to take, any decision that we are going to take, we will have to have a discussion with our leaders, with the opposition, with the stakeholders involved, and then take the necessary action.
Okay,
let me also bulldoze it like the way the BJP did.
No, that's fine. You say that now, but people will take offense to the fact that you call protection of the cow in a country like India primitive and regressive.
That statement was not made with respect to the cow slaughter bill. It was made.
Let me come to the hijab row. Let me come to the hijab row. The Karnataka High Court said there were unseen hands behind the protest over the hijab. Now, you could take back the notification of the government. Are you going to ignore what happened in Karnataka? Are you going to ignore the words of the High Court?
See, the matter also went to the Supreme Court, and I think you're ignoring that fact completely, and there was a split verdict. So
I'm not talking about whether hijab should be allowed inside classrooms per se. I'm talking about what the High Court opined. Unseen hands behind the agitation in Karnataka. Surely, as the new government, you would want to be careful of which forces you promote.
Ma'am, we shall take strict action against anybody who is promoting religious hatred and disharmony, irrespective of the religion, irrespective of their affiliations, irrespective of anything. Anybody who spews hatred and communalism in Karnataka, action will be taken against them. And if they have spewed hatred and spread communalism, even in the past, we shall take action as per law, as per what is guaranteed in the Constitution.
Okay, I'll come to the Bajrang Dal issue a little bit later. But yes, Anand Gurumurthy, what is the objection to the current Congress government doing and saying what it intends to do? They said so during campaigning too. They've won a mandate. They've won a mandate on precisely these issues, not just the guarantees. They promised to revoke the anti-conversion law or they fought against the hijab notification. So it's their mandate to fulfill those aspirations.
They only talked about guarantees during the election, and
no,
now
that's
they
not
say
true.
their mandate
No,
was
that's not true. I was in Karnataka. They were always promising reversal of some of the laws passed by the BJP government.
Okay, see, basically what happens is they put the guarantees in front of the people, and then they say the mandate is given for this. Anyway, they are having a mandate, so they are free to do what they want to do, and we are going to do the opposition's duty, and we are going to take care of that. But one thing, Shivani, I just want to tell you a small incident that happened in 2017. There was a High Court directory to clear all the nalas, what we call as the nalas that feed lakes, in Bengaluru, Rajakaluways. That there was a High Court directory to clear all those nalas, and for that, many middle class and upper middle class families' houses were destroyed. Like it is like they were built on the nalas because of some revenue department issues, but they were destroyed. Okay. Immediately, during the High Court gave about 1 month time for the Karnataka government, and Siddaramaiah sir was the CM then. What happened was, after that, within that 1 month, most of the criminals, more than 150 criminals who were in jail, were given parole during that time. And just when they started, taking care of some houses in very, very affluent areas and where Congress had interest, immediately a Kaveri Galata was thrown, a deflection tactic. This is what Congress does. For 3 days, Bangalore burned. Okay, every channel showed tires getting burned, rowdies on the on the roads campaigning, doing whatever they wanted. 3 days. Okay, Bangalore's image got spoiled because of Congress. That is what Congress does. It does deflection and deviation politics.
Okay.
They are never straightforward in their business, and that's why our country suffered for 65 years. People are seeing this again, and this time they are not going to forget Congress and forgive them forever.
Okay, R.K. Upadhyay, I want to understand from you, could it be a challenge for this new Congress government that, you've got so many interest groups who will claim that they've come to power on the back of our support and they will all try to get the government to do something or the other for them, and the government loses its focus on the guarantees which have become the cornerstone and the test stone of this new government?
Basically,
Shivani, it was those 5 guarantees which propelled the Congress to victory. Let's not forget, their leaders repeatedly mentioned these guarantees, and they promised the people that we'll take a decision on implementing it on the first day when the government comes. Even Rahul Gandhi said at the swearing-in ceremony that, these guarantees will be taken up at the first cabinet meeting. And what have they done? They've just deflected the whole issue, and Siddaramaiah says that we have 5 years to implement this. I mean, is this what they said? And they've come up with all kinds of conditions which were never mentioned earlier. Now, I think they're soon going to get the sobriquet. They've been calling BJP government a 40% sarkar. I think people will shortly, start saying that this is a 100% dhoka sarkar. Why did they make all these promises if they can't keep it? They know they're not able to implement any of them, because they have not worked out any of the financial burden. In fact, I've been speaking to the finance ministry officials, senior officials. They say there has not been a single meeting on how to go about implementing it. The chief minister, after the first cabinet meeting, said, we are going to take a decision in the next cabinet.
Yeah,
that will happen on Wednesday. What happened? Wednesday is over. So nothing has happened. And there are 8 ministers without portfolios. They've been loitering around without any work because they have not been assigned any work. And Siddaramaiah and Shivkumar are in Delhi fighting over the portfolios to be given and the ministers to be made.
And in the same time, the ministers are very quick to make statements on other issues, which were not their frontal issues.
Shivani, they're trying to divert the whole debate from guarantees because that is becoming a big burning issue across the state. In fact, the fights are breaking out across the state between, with the electricity company employees and the public.
Yeah, they're refusing to pay their bills. Yes, they're refusing to pay their bills because they're reminding the Congress leader, you promised us the moment you come to power, we will not have to pay our bills. But anyways, yes, Samruddh, please respond.
I really hope and wish that the same sense of urgency was shown when 15 lakh rupees was promised in each person's account.
Nobody promised 15 lakh rupees. I am sorry to say, Samruddh, I am sorry to say, this is unintelligent counter. The Prime Minister never promised to give 15 lakh rupees in anybody's account. I have heard that speech over and over. The Prime Minister only mentioned that if you bring back all the black money, it will amount to each person in India getting 15 lakh rupees. I am sorry, it is not comparable to the guarantees you signed on in Karnataka.
Let me finish.
Yes, Samruddh, please finish. Please finish. Please finish, but do better than this.
I wish the same urgency was
not interested in implementing
shown. I wish the same urgency was shown when 2 crore jobs were promised per year.
And now they're not going to implement any of those.
One by one, please. Mr. Upadhyay, I'll try to give you another 30 seconds. Samruddh, please. Yes.
I wish the same urgency was shown when 2 crore jobs were promised per year, when they promised that $1 will reach 50 rupees, when they said that petrol and diesel and LPG rates will be reduced. I wish the same urgency was shown. But it's okay.
But you're the one who promised it from day one. Why did you do that?
We have just taken note 10 days ago. We will guarantee implement these promises. These are guarantees. These are not jumlas.
These are guarantees and not jumlas. Okay, let me come to the issue of Bajrang Dal. I have limited time. Please allow me. Samruddh, my next question is on the Bajrang Dal issue per se. Now, during the Congress regime under Siddaramaiah, we've had instances of cases against PFI cadres being withdrawn. You may justify it whichever way, but it did happen. PFI was, and even the SDPI was linked to even the Bengaluru riots. And there have been many in the instances that took place. You never talked about a ban on the PFI. I want to understand, how are you going to justify to the public that you never spoke about PFI till it was already banned by the Home Ministry, and today you equate PFI and Bajrang Dal? And you want to ban Bajrang Dal?
See, our stance is clear. Any organization which promotes religious hatred, which divides the society based on communal, religious and caste lines, which promotes violence and hatred, shall be banned.
What
Now,
about parties that ask for votes on the basis of caste? No, I don't understand what caste hate is. What about political parties that ask for votes on the basis of caste? There are 10 parties in India that are their only identity is caste.
Will you allow me, Shivani?
Yes, Anandji, I'll allow you. Yes, Samrudh, please finish.
Anand here.
Yes, Anandji.
Yeah.
Basically, in the last...
Samrudh, I have an organization whose member told when a tree falls, the ground shakes. That was part of Congress, I think. So can you do something about that in 1984 during the Sikh riots? Could you please go back in history and do something about that also?
Okay,
Karnataka
let him finish.
Congress.
I have a minute only left. Samrudh, 30 seconds, and Argir Padya, sir, 30 seconds.
I think it's high time that the Congress government came out with a clear-cut plan as to how they're going to implement this, guarantees. Because this is the basis on which they won this election, and they need to implement it. People of Karnataka are waiting for it. Let them come out with a scheme as to. They're not even said how many beneficiaries are going to be there in each one of them. They
Fear not, sir, we shall implement it. Fear not, sir. In the next 2 weeks, we shall 100% implement it.
Okay, next 2 weeks, they're going to implement this. We'll keep a track on this if that actually happens. But I have to slip into a break. I do thank all of our guests for joining us. This is obviously turning out to be a big challenge for the new Karnataka government. But time for a very short break. On the other side, we have a special report for you. Tina Turner, one of the greatest rock and roll singers of all time, died in Switzerland at the age of 83. A memorial for her on the other side.
We have with us Arun Dhanta joining us on the broadcast. Arun, what more details can you get us from the ground?
Well, see, Prime Minister Modi reached here at Palam Technical Airport around 6, and we had seen that how the response of the BJP workers, and yesterday the clear instructions were given by the BJP chief to all the party workers to gather here early in the morning to welcome Prime Minister Modi. And in fact, Prime Minister Modi also realizing this fact that people are waiting for him almost for the entire night, and therefore thanking them for this response by the BJP workers. And in fact, we had seen Prime Minister Modi, congratulating people of the country, saying that whenever I go out and whatever respect I get from the international community or from the global leaders, it is because of the people of this country, and the respect is not of mine, but it is a respect of the countrymen. And also he's thanking people of the country for giving BJP full majority, because he says that the respect which he gets on the foreign land is because of his full majority government, and it is because of the people. And we had seen that BJP workers were here, and they got this opportunity to watch Prime Minister Modi up close here. Prime Minister Modi spending almost 1 hour coming out of the aircraft at the stage, and then address the gathering. And then we saw the roadshow commencing from this exact spot, which is the Palam Technical Airport. And now Prime Minister Modi is headed to his residence, LKM Marg, and it was a grueling 6 days visit, remember, of Prime Minister Modi, starting with the G7 meeting in Hiroshima, Japan, and then Papua New Guinea, and of course finally concluding it in Australia with a huge show Indian diaspora, in the presence of the Australian Prime Minister, former Prime Minister, and various other top dignitaries and the ministers. So Prime Minister Modi thanking the people of this country that the respect which he gets outside is because of the talent and the people that we have, and of course the culture and the roots that we have is the reason behind that. So it was a very, very special moment for the BJP workers. As we spoke to them, they were saying that it was wonderful opportunity and it was not a waste. They would call it by coming here, staying awake for the entire night. Everything is completely paid off when Prime Minister Modi came close to them and they got the opportunity to shower Prime Minister Modi with flower petals.
Well, thank you so much, Arun, for all the latest inputs. Prime Minister Narendra Modi got a rousing welcome by BJP MPs as he landed at Delhi's Palam Airport today after concluding his three-nation visit to Japan, Papua New Guinea and Australia. Now, during his welcome address, he recalled the day when some leaders in the opposition raised questions over supplying vaccine to other nations, as he received thanks for supplying COVID vaccine to other nations. Now, he further said that the people asked him why he gave the vaccines to the world, to which he replied that India is the land of Buddha and Gandhi and that India cares even for its enemies. He also added that Tamil language is the language of every Indian and that is the oldest language in the world.
ये यात्रा समय तो ज्यादा नहीं था यात्रा का, क्योंकि ट्रैवलिंग में भी टाइम जाता है, लेकिन जितना समय मुझे उपलब्ध था उसका पल पल मैंने देश की बात करने में, देश की भलाई के लिए निर्णय करने में अपना समय पूरी तरह से उपयोग किया मैंने। जो भी नेता मिलते थे, खास करके G7 समूह जो दुनिया के समृद्ध देशों का समूह है, वे भारत में
Proud Mary was one of Tina Turner's signatures, showcasing her unique sound, look, and moves.
That's my style. I take great songs and turn them into rock and roll songs on stage.
Icon, survivor, a queen of rock and roll. Tina Turner began life as Anna Mae Bullock in rural Tennessee. As a teenager, she moved to St. Louis, where she met rocker Ike Turner.
Ike was very good to me when I first started my career. Started to sing weekends with him, and we were really close friends.
The Ike and Tina Turner Revue's first hit came in 1960 with A Fool in Love, a song they performed on Shindig. They married in 1962, and in 1966 recorded River Deep, Mountain High. It was a hit overseas, but flopped in the U.S. In the early 80s, Turner's cover of Let's Stay Together reignited her career. Private Dancer followed in 1984, a runaway critical and commercial success. The album featured her only #1 song. Though she wasn't a fan.
I didn't like it. I wasn't accustomed to singing those kind of songs.
It was also the title of a 1993 film starring Angela Bassett, based on Tina's autobiography. She was honored by the Kennedy Center in 2005 and inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a solo act in 2021, 30 years after her first induction as part of a duo with Ike Turner. All the while, her Buddhist faith kept her going.
The calls you make this lifetime can be the effect of a better life the next lifetime. It will be better and gets better and better.
News Epicenter with me, Maria Shakil. On Sunday, India will witness the inauguration of a new temple of democracy built in the image of modern India, away from the colonial shadow of the past. But 21 opposition parties, including the Congress, the Trinamool Congress, the Aadmi Party and the BRS, will not be a part of this historic moment. They have accused the Prime Minister of hijacking the event as a personal PR exercise and insulting as well as sidelining the President. While first the point of contention was the cost of the project, now the opposition has accused the Prime Minister of breaching protocol, demanding that the first citizen of India, that is President Droupadi Murmu, inaugurate the new building. The BJP has hit back at the opposition, accusing it of mocking Indian democracy and the constitution, or even highlighting how past prime ministers have inaugurated new sections of parliament as well as state assemblies, in many cases where governors were not invited. The Prime Minister cited the diaspora event, saying it showcased the power of Indian democracy, adding that it was attended by Australia's opposition leaders. But the opposition refuses to budge and has dug in its heels. The point remains, this new parliament will live long beyond the current political dispensation. Is the opposition running the risk of being on the wrong side of history? Is it truly a stand over breach of protocol, or is this pure politics?
चाहे पक्ष सत्ता का हो, चाहे पक्ष विपक्ष का हो, सबके सब मिलजुल करके भारतीय समुदाय के इस कार्यक्रम में उतने ही उमंग और उत्साह के साथ शरीक हुए थे.
Leaders belonging to these very same opposition parties spoke ill of her, abused her, and today suddenly they become morally motivated.
Because of the arrogant nature of this government, they are not ready to do that. They are insulting the president. They are insulting the women of the country. They are insulting